All right, guys, good morning. My name is Corey Williams, and I am the guest host slash host today. So sorry for your guys' luck. We have Jim Black and Rachel and Ed Stroud and Mike Novak. They are actually all out today, so I will be taking over. Again, like I said, my name is Corey Williams. I run Williams Ave Real Estate Brokered by Real. And this is going to be a topic of really just how to generate business without having to pay for a ton of business, and really just by expanding your digital reach. Like I said, team leaders Ed Stroud, Jim Black, Mike, and Rachel Novak have really partnered up to create the BUILD Mastermind and Growth Hub for agents, whose aim is to really empower agents to reach new levels of success, both personally and professionally. We've really partnered with Real Academy to bring it to the brokerage every single week. And we also post all the replays on YouTube channel if you just search the Agent Growth Hub. So in case you missed it or join later, feel free to join in there. All right, guys. So what I will be really talking about today is expanding your digital reach. And I'm going to talk a little bit about branding. And I want this to be as interactive as possible. So if you guys have things that work and you know that work, you have tried and you're kind of doing some of the things that I am doing, definitely please feel free to chime in and we will get this thing going. So before I dive into that, I guess show of hands, how many of you guys have gotten emails saying, hey, I can do skip tracing, or I can, buy my lead source, or do my pay-per-click campaign, give me a $5,000 setup fee, and you can have a pay at close, for all my referrals, whatever the case may be. I get that stuff constantly. And, as agents, I know we're, always bombarded really with that kind of stuff and pulled in a million different directions on which way to go. And today I'm just going to talk about what I have done with my business and my team to generate active business and have clients actually reaching out to me and my team members, as well as the company itself. So first thing I want to dive into a little bit is going to be on branding and really just your brand identity. So if that is something you have not started with or have not really kind of honed in on, that is going to be your key focus before we dive into a lot of this. So what I mean by branding and your brand identity is going to be, your name, your headshots, any kind of domains from your web presence. A lot of what I'm going to be talking about today is going to be digital, so your digital reach. So having a domain or several domain names is going to be important, as well as a personalized domain email. So if you have, an example like a Gmail account that you are using for your business, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you to have something personalized more for your brand. Also touch a little bit based on social media. So those are going to be really big key focuses that we are going to leverage and that I leverage really every single day in my business to build that brand identity and expand out that digital reach. So I guess quick show of hands, who is currently using like a Gmail or a Yahoo account? No shame, or, no shots fired. If you are, it's all right. We're going to change that. So all right, so if you have all of that stuff, it's going to be important to expand it across a digital presence and expand it consistently. And what I mean by that is your social media, your web page. If you do not have a website, it's going to be critical that you have one, as well as have one that's going to be set up with an IDX. I know a lot of us here already use Lofty. If you use a different one, totally okay. But as long as you have a website that is going to be a forced registration, that is going to be key to a lot of what I'm talking about here, and expand to go out on how to get more leads. So with that website, you're also going to have a domain, like I mentioned before, and it needs to be something that is going to be somewhat universal and not something too specific, because again, we're going to expand out a little bit more to the masses on this. On that website, it's going to be important that you're active on it. And what I mean by active on it is what you're going to dive into and link to like your social media accounts, your YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube channel, you're gonna need a plugin that will put that in there so that way it syncs, as well as blog. How many of you guys use Lofty currently as your website or your CRM or your IDX site? Anybody use Lofty? Cool. All right. So reason why I mentioned that just because that is a site that I am familiar with. Sierra is also a great one that has a lot of really good tech features on it as well. A nice feature that I like to leverage and utilize is the blogs with the AI assistant that is in there. So if you have a blog capability on your site, I definitely encourage you to do blogs at least twice a week on your site. And what that does is you can blog about a specific property, a new listing that hits, and that adds an additional backlink whenever that posts to go to your site. So really, as I'm talking about, and I kind of go through this list, it's all going to be about building authority in your digital presence. And these little features that, or these little things that we do may not seem like much at the time, but when they're compounded and they're built up, it has a pretty massive effect when it comes down to it. So with your website, make sure it's mobile friendly, just because a lot of people and a lot of your agents and your clients, honestly, are going to be using mobile. A lot of it isn't necessarily going to be desktop. So with your blogs, make sure that you're posting, I would recommend at least twice a week when it comes down to it. And focus new listings that you would, something that you find appealing, something that, when you're looking at it, kind of makes you stop in your tracks and you take a look at it. So something that is going to be, a value driven. So something that's going to be at market price or better, or something that's just going to be really pretty and really sought after in your market. So you will post those blogs and that will put out additional backlinks. And when you sync up your website that has the YouTube channel, if you do YouTube, or just your social, there's plugins that you can put into your social. So that way it syncs your website with your social as well. So that way it builds also that brand authority when it comes down to it. With those two really combined, the next piece I really want to go after is going to be more of your digital presence. So how many of you have a Google My Business account? Perfect. How many of you guys are getting leads from your Google My Business account? You get phone calls? Meh, so. So here's what I have found with Google My Business. So you got to make sure everything is synced up on your Google My Business. So when you have your name, again, that's where it kind of comes back to this brand identity of your name. So it shouldn't necessarily just be your name. You want to put in something that someone is going to search for. So when you kind of put yourself in a buyer's shoes, if you're going to be searching for homes, or if you need a real estate agent, typically you're going to type in best realtor near me, real estate agents near Austin, Texas, wherever you are located. Typically that's going to be your search term. So when you have your Google My Business account, think of what your clients, your future clients might be searching for whenever you have your name put in there. And once you have that established, you're going to put in all your business information. So your website, that is also going to have, a priority domain for your area. You're going to have your phone number that's going to be in there. And a key focus that Google My Business has actually changed is going to be your business hours. So how many of you guys have a 9 to 5 listed on your Google account? Anybody? 24/7? Mm-hmm. 24/7. All right. So Google actually recently changed this where if you have your business hours listed as a 24/7, that is going to give you a little bit of a boost over your competition, because they are going to be showing your business as a priority because you are going to be open versus other ones. So if someone's searching and it's going to say it's like 6 o'clock, it's going to show you over necessarily someone else that is closed and they shut down at 5 o'clock. So being able to put it 24/7 is going to give you a little bit of a boost on your social for the Google My Business. And the other piece that's going to be in there is for Google, the way that it works is if you are using your Google My Business page, Google will reward you for that. And they will reward you for that by putting you into a higher rank. And a way to do that is to put in updates. I would recommend doing them a minimum of 2 to 3 times a week is doing a business update. And you want to keep this business focused. So think of it as like a Facebook or an Instagram for specifically for your business. So if you're touring a property, or if you just went under contract, or if you have a pending, or if you're doing an inspection, or anything along those lines, you can actually post video to it. You can post an image to it. And Google will reward those that are constantly using their platform. So you will rank higher when someone is to search and for the Google My Business.
Question, Corey. You
Yep.
said using priority URLs. So are you buying? So like I'm in Massachusetts. So are you buying things that are like Boston real estate, Worcester real estate? Like what are you using for those?
Like for a domain name, or
for a domain.
Yeah, so what we have done, we actually have about 15 different domain names. And we have like our generalistic one that we have, but we also have our, the IDX site, and we also created specific landing pages for those specialized domain names. So an example for that, say if like for my area, I'm in Enumclaw, Washington. So we have enumclawhomesforsale.com, right? But we also have like the generalistic one, which is going to be viewpnwhomes.com, which is going to be more broader, right? So you can, kind of, the nice thing with the digital presence is you can start big, and then you can kind of hone in onto your specific areas that you want to focus on after that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Good question. Yeah, great question. So with the Google My Business, the next piece that I have found it is really going to show and have a massive impact is going to be your reviews. And not necessarily just having reviews, but coaching your clients to put in the correct wording for your reviews. So when you have a conversation with your client and you are asking them to put in a review, give them a little bit of coaching before they put in that review, because a lot of times, again, you want to think in terms of your clients, right? So your future clients. So if you have a future buyer or a future seller and they want to find, a realtor in Denver, Colorado, they're probably going to search best realtor in Denver, Colorado, or real estate agent, Denver, Colorado. You will want to help coach your clients into putting that kind of stuff into their reviews, because that will bring you into more of a priority. So quantity of 5-star reviews is important, as well as the verbiage that they also put into the review itself. So for like an example for myself, if I got a review and said, Corey is the best realtor in Enumclaw, Washington, versus Corey's great, the key wording in that is going to be that's going to be weighted very, very differently, if that makes sense. So you want to think of those keywords and those tag phrases that would populate into a search engine when also doing the review, because when you search for it, it will actually highlight the review that has those phrases in it, if that makes sense. Yep. Cool. Questions or anything so far? I know I'm kind of covering a decent amount and going fairly quick. No? Good? Keep rolling? Sweet. All right, so Google is also going to be, so that's going to be a heavy one. So the more that you do that, there is a thing that's called the 3-pack. And whenever you go in and you search like that general term, so realtor, Denver, Colorado, or wherever you're at, and it shows, you scroll down a little bit, you have those couple, like 2 or 3 sponsored, website or links that are right there. And then you have the map. Then the listings or the agents that show up on that map, those are ones that are completely free. And that's what's called the 3-pack. And that's ultimately your goal of what you want to get into for when someone is searching for a realtor or real estate agent that is in your area. And by doing those additional phrases in your reviews, as well as posting regular updates, you can go on to the services that you offer, and there's actually a section for offers. So if you can, like, we might think of it as, I'm a realtor, I don't really sell anything, but if you're able to go in there and you can do an offer like a free home valuation, right? That is a service that you offer, and you can put that kind of stuff in there. So you build out your profile top to bottom by doing these additional things. Google rewards you for it, and it helps bump your profile up to show up ultimately into really what's called the 3-pack. And that's ultimately where you want to go for it, for a higher ranking. With Google, that is going to be really the biggest one, and one of your, I guess I'd say, your most important ones when it comes down to it. Another one that I have actually found that is starting to have a little bit more weight is the Apple Business Connect. Who has an iPhone? A few of us. All right. So for those of us with iPhones, Apple Business Connect, that is the same thing as a Google My Business profile. They're starting to tweak it a little bit. So it's actually going to, whenever, if you don't have one already, you create a profile, it actually creates like a little digital business card that pops up if you were to go into their maps and search. So it's kind of a similar thing. Even if you don't have an iPhone, you can still have an Apple Business Connect profile, if that makes sense. So you don't have, if you're an Android user, you can still do it. You can still, be in the cool kids club with, the whole Apple thing if you want to get a business profile on there. So you can still, participate in the maps without having an Apple iPhone or an Apple device, if that makes sense. So Apple Business Connect. So similar thing to a Google business profile, to where you're actually going to go through top to bottom. You're going to create your business account. Again, you're going to put in your web page. You're going to put in your email with your domain. You're going to put in your phone number, business hours. Apple makes it pretty easy for ratings. Anyone can, with Apple Maps, can go on and give you a thumbs up, and that's going to give you ratings. And what I've actually also found with, I guess, search engines that are not Google. So what I mean by that is like, Bing, Siri, Alexa, these other search engines, they tend to pull. Sorry, my Siri started talking to me. She heard I was talking about her. They will pull information from Facebook. So your ratings on Facebook, they will pull from that, as well as Yelp. So those are going to be your other two primary focuses that you're going to want to make sure you have a business account on, is Yelp and your Facebook for your reviews. So if you don't have a business page on Facebook and you're a solo agent, totally okay. I don't actually recommend doing a Facebook business page for my personal opinion, but you should have a Yelp for, again, expanding out that digital reach. So Bing has their own similar aspect of Google in itself for a business page. It's called Bing Places. So that's another one that you're going to want to go on and create a profile with. So similar to what Google, Google My Business, it has to be validated. If you don't have either, I would recommend doing Google first, because you can actually import your Google business information into Bing. It will actually find it on Google, and it'll like import everything over. So it'll make generating that and making that account a lot easier. So when you do that, same thing, you're going to have your business name, you're going to have your website information, you're going to have your email with your domain, your phone number. You can post business updates and photos and that kind of stuff. But the majority and the focus is going to be on Google. That's probably, I'd say, 70%. The other 30% is going to be the other stuff. So dial in your business on your Google first, and then expand out to the other ones. And what that's going to do is going to help create, again, that web presence. And you have all these additional links for your website. It's going to help generally with search engines by itself. And it's going to give priority, because it's all about having a presence on the web for what search engines pull. So if you're not putting yourself out there in additional aspects, it's not going to really rank you when it comes to a search engine. And all these are completely free. You don't have to do any of these for any kind of paid or pay-per-click or anything like that. It's all about just creating the presence and building out your profiles with it. With Google, sorry, going back to it, you can do the local service on there. And I would recommend creating a local service, because that gives you the green check, but you don't have to pay for it, if that makes sense. So there is a lot of people that will go through and they will pay for Google to do that local service ad. but you don't actually have to pay for it. But when you set it up that way, Google will give you a higher recognition when it comes to a general search, even though you're not actually paying them for the local service ads. You will still get that green check mark in your search engine, and they give you a higher authority when it comes down to it. Cool. Let's see. I did drop in my email. Sorry, I'm checking up on the chat. How long video on Google or YouTube? Sorry, can you expand on that? Like, how long are the videos, or like how long to post? Oh, sorry, you're still muted.
Oh, hi.
Hey, there you are. Cool.
Yeah, hi. I'm wondering how, let's say when I used Google My Business, like on that one, when I'm putting the video there, do I putting that on YouTube or am I putting on a profile? And like, is that a limitation? Like, how long can be? Like 5 seconds, 20 seconds, or?
Yeah, good question. So when you're putting video on your Google My Business page as an update, you want it to be a pretty quick, short snip. So think of something, 15 to 20 seconds. And I wouldn't go any longer than that. You can sync your Google My Business profile to YouTube directly. So you can have a YouTube link in your Google My Business profile. So you can link that, but have your updates that you post, if you're doing video, have them pretty short and quick and sweet.
That's a good one. And let's say if I have a website, different domain names and et cetera, I'm using let's say a Gmail, but I also link, like I have my domain email that I'm not using as much as I'm supposed to, but they are linking to the Gmail. So is that okay combination, or how that?
It will work, and it kind of sounds like you're making it work. However, when it comes to authority, you want to have a consistent image and branding across all channels. So if I'm looking, if I'm trying to find you, for an example, I should be able to, if I, find you on Facebook, or if I find your Google business profile, if I find your web page, your contact information should be all the same, if that makes sense. So you want to try to eliminate any kind of confusion that you would have for someone to reach out to you. So if you have a direct domain for your email, I would recommend just using that constantly. If you have it like Gmail forwarding to a different Gmail account as like a backup, that's okay. But I would recommend using just your personal domain.
Yeah, I started that many, many years ago, and then, just was not for me practical, so I switched. But maybe I should consider it and try to go back. Because let's say everything I was building up on Remax, but that's a brand that is not mine. I have my own domain, so maybe I should try to everything get back and just focus on, let's say, maybe tomorrow I'm not going to be with Remax, to have something so I can move on.
Gotcha. Yeah. So I would, again, just recommend something that's going to be consistent across all channels, just because it's going to help build your authority with it. So if you have a profile on Facebook, to have that authority, it should have the same information on your Google business profile. It should have the same information on your, the Bing Places profile, because when you create those business accounts, the web is the way that those search engines are designed. They go out and they search for consistent information, and that's how it syncs like your Yelp, for example. So Bing Places will go out and it like searches for consistent information, and it will find you on Yelp and import your Yelp reviews to it. It's nothing that you do specifically. It's just because it searches for that consistent information.
So I think I disconnected that Yelp because one time, like many years ago, I had some bad reviews, and I couldn't reason the person, and I found out the person is like putting bad review for everybody, and I just didn't like that, So I'm not using Yelp as much, like how I used to do,
Sure.
just for no reason whatsoever. Some person was playing games, whatever. So like it's still, when because I'm doing two different projects in the same time. I'm doing real estate and I'm doing television. That's what I do, two different areas. Ethnic television and I do real estate. So that's two. When they search me, they find the both. You know what I mean? They find the both. So cannot be consistent in just one thing regarding my business, you know, kind of going around, you know, like because I'm doing different things.
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, I would just try to separate the two as much as you can with it.
Okay.
Obviously there's going to be some crossover at some point and somewhere. Just try to separate them the best that you can.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no, of course, my pleasure. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so let's see. I did drop in my email address, Corey@williamsavrealestate.com. I have a list of about 20 or so pay it close companies that don't charge anything up front. If you guys want that list, it's just shoot me over an email and I will just forward that list over to you. It is changing every single day for what they have booked out or what they're able to take on. But I'm sure some of them you might have heard of. So like, you know, Redfin offers a referral program with nothing that's paid up front. My Agent Finder, Upnest, Home Lights, you know, stuff like that. Those are all referral companies that don't charge anything to set up a profile and is just strictly pay it close. So if you guys want that list, shoot me an email and I will go ahead and forward that over to you. So that way you guys have it. When you create a profile on those, again, that helps build your digital presence. So again, because you're going to have your website on there, you're going to have your contact information, your phone number, your email, your name, you're going to sync your social profiles to it. So that's actually going to be a benefit to help build out that digital presence and actually help with search engines as well. So if you guys want that, shoot that over to me and I will forward that over to you today. Let's see, we got a few minutes left. And last thing that I guess I can touch base on real quick is a digital marketing technique. It's not really so much a technique, but kind of a way that I have found to generate a lot of leads completely free with actually just advertising your listings. So when you have a listing, I know a lot of us and a lot of agents will, you know, put it live on the MLS, maybe their own direct website and call it a day. What I have found is actually if you utilize Facebook Marketplace and create a listing from these, you will actually generate additional buyers and actually have them reaching out directly to you. So obviously it's going to be a little bit different depending on the listing. We recently had one a couple of weeks ago and we generated about 60 to 70 buyers from it. We actually are now under contract with one of those. And you know, Jess is typically here, and she runs Williams Ave with me. She is actually at their inspection right now. So, whenever you have a listing, you're going to have your own website, right? So when you have a listing, you should have a specific landing page that you build out for that listing to promote it. And you're going to want to put in, you know, the SEO, meta description and all that kind of stuff. And I know that kind of sounds a little foreign, and scary to sometimes for people, but it's really not. And what I want to encourage you with it, when you build a landing page and you're going to create that, the SEO, again, just put yourself in the position of a buyer. What is a buyer going to look for if they are searching for a home in your area? You know, for example, homes for sale in Denver, you know, not super difficult to kind of put that kind of stuff into a search engine optimization for your website, right? So you're going to have your listing and you're going to generate a landing page specifically for that listing. Your IDX site should do that for you. And you're going to take that direct link, and then you're going to put that into the Facebook listing that you make. So you're going to put a listing for sale. It's going to be the house. You can put, I typically only do one picture because I want people to reach out to me. I don't want them to have the full view. I want to start conversation. So I'll typically do one picture, maybe two, maybe three, depending on what I want to showcase with it. But I typically don't do more than that. Obviously put in the description of the property, and then I'll also put in a direct link that goes to that landing page. So whenever you do that, you're going to build that listing out into Facebook Marketplace. And then you're going to put that out into buy sell trade groups that are going to be within your area. So for example, there's, for if you're in Denver, Colorado, there's probably going to be about 15 or 20 different buy sell trade groups within Denver or around like surrounding area of Denver. So like Aurora, Arvada, all these other different areas. And you're going to take that listing and you're going to put it out into different buy sell trade groups all around, and you're going to watch your direct messages just blow up. And a lot of times it's great conversation. You're going to be catching these buyers really towards the beginning of their buying journey. So think of it as a, kind of an early nurture, but it puts you in direct contact. If they click on the link that's in the description, they're going to go to that landing page. It's going to have a forced registration, and you're going to collect the information that way. So that way you can reach out to them, follow up, and nurture, and ultimately set up a buyer's consultation with them that way. So obviously each listing is going to have its own draw to it, I guess, but a great way to additionally market out to your, market for your seller, but market out to additional buyers and pick up some additional future business that way as well, if that is something that you guys are not doing. So
do you put the full address in the marketplace listing where they
I
can
do
Google it? Or
so to build it out in marketplace, you do have to put in the full address. However, you can hide it whenever you post in a marketplace. Okay. And typically I will hide it so that way if someone's interested, they need to reach out to me or they need to click the registration link.
Right. Instead of being able to just Google 123 Main Street and
exactly. Yep, you got it. Great question. Cool. Looks like we got a few minutes left. I just want to kind of open it up for a little bit of Q&A. Anything that you guys have done, obviously, we're all a collective. So if there's anything you guys have done, anything around anything that I've talked about that you found helpful, or I guess any kind of takeaways, any ahas?
I have a quick question. I stepped away and I could only hear you from a little bit of a distance. You said something about emailing you for a return on something.
Oh, yes. So I have a list of about 20 pay at close companies that don't charge an upfront fee to set up your profile. So if you would like those, just shoot me an email. I put my email in the chat. It's Corey@williamsrealestate.com. Just shoot me an email and I'll forward that list over to you.
Thank you.
Of course, my pleasure. Any other questions?
Corey, why are you against the Facebook business? Because I've actually gotten business off my Facebook business page. So I'm just curious what your philosophy is there.
Oh, so for a solo agent, typically what I have found is if it's done correctly, yes, I'm all for it. However, it is typically not, and it just becomes a forgotten piece, I guess, or it tends to get neglected. If you're a solo agent, typically what I have seen from a response standpoint is better response and better engagement on an individual's profile versus the business profile. But if done correctly, having a Facebook business page where you can kind of highlight a little bit more of like your business specifically and kind of lean not so much of that 80-20 rule for your personal page. If it's done correctly, I'm all for it. But typically from an industry standard, it's not. So that's just why I say that.
Thank you.
Yep, of course. I think there was somebody else. Someone else have a question?
No, I unmuted myself. I would say I have to Google my business, obviously, because someone sat down and made me set it up.
Yep.
And it has been slightly very neglected, but I've still gotten calls off of it and it still has gotten traffic. So even if it does get neglected, it still does get traffic. And where we're at, a ton of them. So I'm still getting
for a little bit, Sarah.
What?
You froze for a little bit. What?
Oh, even though there's a ton of agents in our area, I'm still getting calls off of a case.
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, you don't have to rank in the top 3 to get phone calls or to get business from it. But obviously, the more you use it, just like everything else in your business, the more you do it consistently, the better return you're going to get on it, right? So
I'll say I think my biggest takeaway from this is not all that has actually changed. Much has actually changed since the early 2000s when this all came out. Like it's all the same stuff, but we've gotten so drowned out in the 300 different fancy things that we're not doing, or I'm not doing some of the silly, the getting the URLs that have the right words in them and like all this basic keyword side stuff and backlinking and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, our attention is pulled in a million different directions by 20,000 different people every single day. And everyone's coming out with the new, the now, the shiny, hey, I need jump on this, do this. And, it's the, it's, I want to say like basic stuff. But, sometimes, this might not be basic to someone if they haven't, explored it yet.
If that's not
yeah, but it's nothing groundbreaking. It's just, again, being specific, being consistent, being intentional around what you're doing to, focus as a key leg of your business. Yeah, absolutely. Emerald, did you have a question too? I think I saw you on mute for a minute.
Thanks, Corey. For those of us who are not single agents and who either work on teams or as a partnership, how would you advise in terms of your own marketing and your own branding versus pulling in your team's marketing? How closely related should they be? And or, should we keep them separate so they're helping to influence one another, but you have your own brand? How would you advise?
Yeah, great question. Tara, who is actually on this call, she is on my team. And I would encourage you to just, talk with your team leader on kind of any kind of specifics. But if you have, like, say you don't have a Google My Business profile and you want to create one, I would just have a conversation with them of what they would, really require you for to be in there. Tara's, for example, she, has, her name, her, business name, and then in there it's Williams Ave Real Estate, or with Williams Ave Real Estate. So she has her own personal branding that she has, but she's also leveraging the information and the marketing of the team. So it's not just going to be, with her, but she's also going to be piggybacking off of the web traffic and the keywords that are generated with the team's business and the team's web presence as well. So I know it's kind of a generic answer, I guess, maybe not as specific as you're hoping for, but I know some, team members are going to be a little bit more specific for what they would, or team leaders would want to be a little bit more specific for what they would want you to include in your personal branding, if that makes sense.
Yeah, thanks for sharing the collaboration that Terry uses with your brand.
Yeah, of course. Cool. What else? Any other questions?
Corey, mine wouldn't let me tag Williams Ave. It just has our address. Mine doesn't say Williams Ave on it anywhere.
Right, but it still piggybacks off of it.
Yeah, it has the office address.
Yeah, and same with
I had to double check that. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, and same with your website.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Hopefully there's some takeaways, some action items for everyone to go do, whether it's build a little bit more web presence, get some consistency, or just build out a web page if you have not done that yet. So looks like we are pretty good to go. Jan, I will go ahead and I'll put my email in the chat here. So that way it's at the top of the list, in case you guys don't have it. Corey at Williams Ave Real Estate. So again, if you're watching this on a different replay, shoot me an email and I will forward you over that list. And hopefully that'll help get you a little bit of business as well. So I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the time. Thanks for the participation, and go sell some houses and make some things happen. Have a great day, guys. I appreciate it.